Today we're going on a 183-kilometer ride across Vancouver Island to a place we're surprised more riders aren't talking about. And no, it's not Tofino. It's a place some locals refer to as the edge of nature.
We got a 5:30 a.m. start here in Vancouver, but hopefully you'll get an amazing sunrise on the ferry.
Our trip begins on the 6:15 a.m. ferry from Horseshoe Bay, Vancouver to Departure Bay, Nanaimo. It's an early start, but there are a few better ways to start a day like this than catching the sunrise over the Pacific Ocean. In total, this ride runs 178 kilometers from Departure Bay, Nanaimo to our final destination in Ucluelet, and would take approximately 3 hours to ride non-stop. Once off the ferry, the first 30 minutes of this ride will take you across Highway 19 to the beginning of Highway 4A, where we recommend making your first stop in Coombs at the Old Country Market. Here you'll find ample parking, coffee, plenty of fresh local food options, and a few other surprises you should discover for yourself. It's the perfect place to start your ride. Continuing across Highway 4, you'll be treated to some incredible views as you wind around Lake Cameron and enter the home of the ancient giants of Vancouver Island. The pullout for our next stop is Cathedral Grove in Mcmillan Provincial Park, home to some of the largest Douglas fir and red cedar trees in Canada. So we stopped at Cathedral Grove off Highway 4 just outside of Port Alberni. Now this park is known for its massive red cedars and Douglas firs, and the largest of them all is right behind me. This tree is over 79 meters tall, over 9 meters around, and it's over 800 years old, which means in 1492 when Columbus discovered North America, this guy was already 300 years old. About 15 kilometers from Cathedral Grove, further west across Highway 4, you'll enter Port Alberni, where you'll find this gas bar, which will give you your last chance to refuel before venturing into the wilder parts of this ride. If you've been wondering when the real motorcycling was going to begin, here it is. Roughly 102 kilometers of winding, mountainous, picturesque roads. Nothing but nature in every direction, and the occasional friendly wave. About halfway through this part of the ride, right after a large curve in the highway, there's a roadside pullout along a rocky section of the Kennedy River where you'll have a chance to see these, the Lovers' Locks. A place where couples leave locks on the fence and throw the key into the stream below. The tradition of leaving love locks started in Paris on a bridge near the Pont d'Arc, and after going viral has cropped up in unexpected places all over the world. The one in Paris had to be removed after part of the bridge railing collapsed under the weight of the 45 tons of locks that had been left there. Another few minutes of riding, and you'll hit a fork in the road by the National Park Reserve of Canada. Here is where most people would turn right for Tofino. But we're not most people. Welcome to Ucluelet. At one time completely dependent on logging and fishing, this small village of around 1,700 people is the perfect escape. Ucluelet is like Tofino, only less touristy and a little more adventurous. Riding through town, you'll immediately be charmed by the small coastal community, a small town bursting at the seams with boats, colorful marinas, restaurants, and beaches. But that's not what makes Ucluelet special. Travel towards the Pacific coastline and you'll be treated to some of the greatest views of the Pacific Ocean. We recommend stopping by the Amphitrite Point Lighthouse and taking a walk on the Wild Pacific Trail. When it's sunny and calm, the views are serene and perfect. At just the right time of year, you can even watch the gray whale migration from just about any point on the trail. And it's on the Wild Pacific Trail along the Pacific coastline that you'll start to appreciate what makes Ucluelet just so special. The locals consider this black rock-encrusted coastline the eighth wonder of the world, a place they're often torn between bragging about and keeping to themselves. If you're lucky enough to visit during a storm, that's when the real Ucluelet reveals itself. Waves as high as houses regularly crash against the rugged coastline. These rogue waves once toppled the Amphitrite Point Lighthouse. At one point earlier this year, a record-breaking 9.5-meter wave crashed into the shoreline. If you don't want to risk storm watching from the coastline, then maybe you'll prefer storm watching from the comfort of a hot tub. Just a few minutes away is our final destination, the Black Rock Resort. Positioned right over the Black Rock Pacific coastline, this resort is the perfect place to unwind after your ride. The Oceanfront Resort offers guests incredible views of the coastline from the comfort of a serene and luxurious spa-like resort. The resort has an innovative design. Its architecture of glass and steel contrasts the wild Pacific landscape that surrounds it. Its massive windows flood the resort with natural light and expansive views of the Pacific coastline. And if you time your trip just right, it's a true storm watcher's paradise. The Black Rock Resort is the perfect place to stop and unwind after a long ride. Or start planning your next one.